Hey, how you doing? I'm Dan Ferris.
I'm Michael Williamson.
And we're coming to you from the finest agency on the prairie, Complete Media, Inc., in the great state of South Dakota. We want to talk about when you get ready to blow big marketing dollars. And I mean, fat stacks of cash on marketing, because who doesn't love doing that? I'm nearing, believe it or not, almost 40 years in media. He cringes. So essentially, I have no marketable skills, but here we are. The question asked most often, and I meet with business leaders all the time, and one of my, I almost said favorite questions, most telling questions early on is, what are you investing in marketing, blah, 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 blah. Are you happy with the return on that? When I ask, are you happy with the return on your marketing investment, the answer is generally, I think so, maybe, I don't know, or what do you mean?
Or no.
Or no. There are, those rare exceptions when they go, you know what, doing great, yup, it's trackable, everything's in place, but again, that's rare.
And that's when you walk out the door.
Yeah, exactly. Say, wow, how did you get so good at this? Yeah. But it is a big deal. Is it just money in? You sit with your accountant, once a year and go, yeah, just put that in the loss column. Marketing expenditure. It should never be an expenditure. It should never be a cost. It needs to be an investment. And we're going to break that down a little more clear for you.
Yeah, and if you didn't have a chance to see the blogcast prior to this one, that's okay, because it's not a blogcast. It's only a podcast. Dan had a festering boil right here, so we didn't film the last one.
Well,
so we saved you all that mental image.
What are you going to do?
Anyway, then and now we'll talk a little bit more in depth about tracking that return on your marketing investment. And, if you're not tracking your return, why are you spending the money? It would be like, if you put new windows why would you put new energy efficient windows in your house if you didn't expect to save some money or get a return on your investment? You wouldn't ever consider that. Why would you service your vehicle if you didn't expect to extend the life of it and get a return on your investment? But so often we encounter these business owners that when it comes to marketing, somebody walks in the door one day and says, you know what, we're going to run this special, and we think you'd benefit from it, and why don't you write us a check for a couple grand, and we'll put together this for you, and we'll run that, and thanks. And then they go back to business as usual, and a month or two later, 3 months, they go, we didn't see an uptick in business. We don't see it in the books. We don't see it in the day-to-day. The phone's not ringing anymore. More people aren't coming in. And quite frankly, it's those experiences that give us all in marketing a bad name.
Yeah, Black Eye City. That's what that is. I was invited to a seminar, and this was just a couple weeks ago, and it actually had to do, it was a complete breakout on network television versus cable versus broadcast, commercial radio, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, it was there leaning heavily on why you should do network television. Oh. The presenter, what truly amazed me is he was talking about the pricing, and he got into the price of last year's Super Bowl ads, which was in the proximity of $5 million a throw, $5 million, one shot Super Bowl.
Was that 30 or 60?
That was a 30.
30.
And he qualified it this way. He said, now look at it this way. When you break it down per viewer, this is one of the best buys on television. Total viewership versus that investment, you're looking at just a penny a person to reach with your ad. I was asked to leave because I busted out laughing. Because the sad, and you know what? I'm sure that math does work out exactly that way.
Sure, you can.
But he never got to the next step, which is, did that $5 million produce a return? Did you get $6 million back? And do you know that happened because of that one-time shot on the Super Bowl?
Right.
If you don't know that, you know what? You're still sitting in the dark going, doop, 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 doop.
And getting those results is not an easy thing.
Nope.
I can't tell you how many times I've had that conversation with business owners, with decision makers, to say, how do we know we're making money off of spending that money? And I go, well, sometimes it's as simple as asking how people came to find you. Now, in theory, it's a great idea. In practice, it's a whole different can of worms.
It is.
And it's not easy. We have some clients that are meticulous about it. Every time the phone rings, every time they encounter somebody, that's part of the conversation. Can I ask you how you happen to find us or hear about us? And they track it and they keep record. Is that the norm? By no means. Do we think naively that people are going to do that? No. But I will say that it's like any other business practice or habit. You have to get into it. You have to include it in the conversation so that it becomes just as automatic as asking people what they need, how much they want to spend, what their budget is. You're asking the same questions that that they're asking of you, right? So that's the first thing. Other things that can be utilized are tracking phone numbers. Again, it's not the easiest situation to put in place, but it's worth the effort if you want to really see if whatever that marketing effort you're putting in place is producing specific results to that effort. Because if you're just putting your general phone number on there, you're not going to know. Unless, of course, you ask the question. And then that also transcends to tracking emails, a unique offer, coupon, code, whatever it is. And we see them all the time, but we don't see them often enough. So that's proof, isn't it, that think of all the marketing messages that you encounter on a day-to-day basis at home, through the mail, TV, radio, bus stops, billboards,
Average
everything.
American bombarded with over 2,000 messages a day.
And just think in terms of, is there an element to that message that might be interpreted as some means of tracking? Probably not.
Nope.
So at the end of the day, if you're not willing to put that in place, then you really have to study the notion of, am I willing to spend X amount of dollars and have no idea of what it's doing for me? That's what it boils down to.
Or what if you could invest $1,000 and now, because the element or elements are in place, the trackability is in place, that unique phone number, for instance, that unique email, for instance, that unique offer, for instance, and when all is said and done, that $1,000 netted you $2,000. Well, now you know, and now you're measuring your investment, and you can manage it because, again, you have the data at hand. Or if you invested $1,000 and $500 came back to you,
that's a 50% return.
But you lost half your money, huh?
Is that the way you would invest your personal money in, say, the stock market?
But the thing is, now you know.
And now you know.
So let's take those dollars and move them over to where we know they're going to do the most good. And it's all doable in this day and age. I mean, you can't manage what you can't measure. Trackability is a huge thing, and it's all about return on investment. It's about outcomes. It's not about features. Right. It's not about, we have a $20,000 website. Okay. Did it make you 40? No idea, but ain't it cool? What? I don't know. Is it? Let's find out.
And again, we can't stress enough that whatever you're doing, and in these marketing efforts, to share that information with the people on your team. It's so funny how many times I have the conversation with a decision maker or a business owner who's running a particular marketing campaign, and the feedback that they normally get from their employees or their team members is usually not that positive, because you know what happens is any regular person has a fairly accurate idea of what it costs to spend on a TV or radio or print campaign. And when they see that and they don't understand that if it succeeds and what it will translate into as far as adding to the revenue stream of the business, they view it with a rather negative eye, because they're going, they're wasting that money on something that's not going to be a game changer or produce any measurable results. And it reflects poorly on them when they think, wouldn't it be nice if they spent that money in a way that benefits me? Okay, so if you put all the tracking in place and you're putting that marketing message out there and you're sharing it with your team members, they have a different appreciation now, don't they? An understanding of saying, oh, so you're not just blowing money, you're actually tracking it.
Yep.
And then we can see a measured result in the increase in business and revenue, so that benefits us all. If you're not willing to do any of that, you might as well just not bother at all. But you share that information with your team players, and you'd be surprised how much they'll get on board with the idea. And they'll probably even go the extra mile and make a point to share with friends and family the idea of paying attention to whatever marketing message you've got out there. Have you seen our new commercial? Have you seen our print ad? Have you seen our website that we didn't spend $20,000 on? Go check out our website. Look at our new wrapped vehicles. Look at my new nice shirt. Whatever it is, if you communicate with your staff members why you're spending that money and what you're trying to achieve, they'll be a team player.
Absolutely. Hey, it's real simple. Quit messing with your marketing bucks, man. That's all there is to it. Return on investment, that's all it should ever be. You invest $1, you need to get something back for that.
Hey, Dan.
Positive column.
Dan, give me an R.
Give me an R.
Give me an O.
O.
Give me an I.
I.
What's that stand for?
Roy.
That's right. Return on investment.
That's all there is to it. Hey, if you have any further questions or you just want to chat and see what's going on in the world, 605-360-2259. I'm Dan Ferris.
I'm Michael Williamson.
See ya.